All right. Well, I am grateful for those of you who are able to see this presentation because I've tried multiple times and hopefully this is the charm. And I'm going to share my screen so that hopefully you can see what I'm looking at. And I'm going to walk you through this trip to Nepal that we're and hopefully give you enough information to make a decision on whether this is a journey you want to be a part of. And so thank you for joining this call. I've tried to record a handful of times and done some other calls with people and tried to record, but just couldn't seem to pull it off. So here we go. Hey, so a little bit about myself for those who don't know me. My name is Sean Schrader. I live in Lake Stevens, Washington. I'm originally from Washington, moved away for a long time, and then moved back about 20 years ago. And I've been on 8 short-term mission trips outside the United States. Also lived outside the United States in Japan and Spain when we were in the military, but didn't do any trips then. I've been to Nepal 3 times. That's what we're going to talk about today, is this upcoming trip in October of this year. So I've been there 3 times. And I've been on 3 Habitat for Humanity trips outside the United States, including one to Nepal. The other 2 times I just went on my own. So this trip, we're going to go to, as I said, Nepal. We're going to have 3 different aspects of this trip. As you listen and you say, hey, that'd be great, but I'd only like to do that portion, then that's totally fine with me. We just got to kind of narrow that in and figure out the logistics. But we're going to spend some time in a town called Lakenat that's near Pokhara, which is right there in the middle of. We're going to fly into Kathmandu initially, and then end up actually first we're going to go to Chitwan, which is near Bharatpur. And then we're going to go to Pokhara area, a little town called Lakenath or village. And then the third part of the trip is we're going to be down in Bharatnagar, down in the far southeast corner, doing a Habitat for Humanity build. And so I'll cover each one of those in this discussion. Just a little information for those of you that don't know much about Nepal. It is about 30 million people speaking Nepali, which is similar to Hindi, which is the language for India nearby. The country itself is probably, I kind of tell people, like, if you look at that map there, if you took New Jersey and flipped it on its side, it's about that same size with 30 million people. Kathmandu's population with about 1.5 million, primarily Hindu in this country. It's a very ancient country. Buddhism was actually founded in southern Nepal. But Buddhists are only about 9% of the population, 3% Muslim, and then less than 1% are Christians and followers of Jesus. And those are going to be many of the people that we're going to be working with and encouraging and supporting. The primary economic opportunities for people in Nepal really come from trekking and tourism. Mount Everest is their tallest mountain, tallest, somebody reminded me recently, tallest above sea level. Those people that are into mountains under the ocean want to argue with you. Big agricultural opportunities that exist there, and then human capital. And what I mean by that is that the one of the primary economic drivers in Nepal is people who leave Nepal and then send money home as they work throughout the world. Much of it Middle East, Southeast Asia, certainly India, and many places. The average income in Nepal is about $630 per month. Compare that to the United States, it's about 1/5 of what most Americans make. Average income in the United States is about $3,100 per month. So this trip is going to be 3 parts. Oh, did I change? Yeah, I did change my dates. We're having to move our dates for a variety of reasons, but it's going to be October 19th through November 1st. If you want to do all 3 parts, that's what it'll involve. I'm going to come in a little bit early and might stay a day or two afterwards as well. And you're certainly free to spend time in the country besides on this trip. First part's going to be in Chitwan, like I said, then Lakenath in the Pokhara area. And both those areas are high tourist areas, so we'll be able to do some fun and enjoyable things. And then the last part will be a week of building a house out in Bharatnagar, that far southeast corner. So Chitwan, what we're going to do there is we're going to partner with the church. And you see Pastor Dilip and Jenny there in that picture in the middle. And that is they are pastors in a town, a village outside of Chitwan, and we're going to help support them. So what we'll do is after we fly into Kathmandu, we'll take a bus ride about 4 hours out to Chitwan, and and then spend some time partnering with that church and doing one of the things we're going to do is a youth camp where we're going to support and encourage the youth that are there and create some opportunities for those who are not believers to be involved and engage in that and really focus on unity and encouraging people, believers and non-believers, to partner and encourage and to support one another. If you don't know much about Nepal, it is a caste system that exists in Nepal, basically meaning that everybody is in a certain caste based on their family heritage. So if I were to say to you, that guy is a Rockefeller, you would probably assume, or a Carnegie, you would probably assume that they come from a family that's doing well. It's the same way in Nepal, is there's certain names that indicate one's wealth. If I said, hey, that he's part of the Hatfields and she's part of the McCoys, you would know in America that that generally means some Appalachian families that aren't on the higher end of the social system, and that's the way things work in Nepal. And so unity is a very challenging situation uh, for them, and so that's what we're going to do some work in and around. We're also going to have at least one nurse on this trip and one physical therapist, and we're hoping to do a medical clinic. We may all participate in both of those, or some people may go and do the medical clinic while others are doing the youth camp. And so that really just depends on how many people we have on this trip and what people want to be doing. Throughout this trip, you're going to hear our stays in hotels are going to be double occupancy, meaning that there'll be two people to a hotel room. Uh, Obviously, men with men and women with women. And if married couples join us, then they have the choice to room together if they so choose. The costs on this portion, just for what we're going to do in Chitwan, is going to be about $500 per person. That's going to include the program that we're going to be putting together, and whether that's the youth camp or the medical missions, and then that includes your food and your hotel. Some tourist things that we're going to do. We're going to go into uh, uh, a jungle there in Chitwan, and you'll be able to see some wildlife, including the one-horned rhinos that exist only in Nepal, and and you'll be able to see a lot of other interesting things. We'll go to an elephant breeding ground and a variety of other things to be involved in. So really interesting place, Chitwan. So the next place that we're going to go to is Lake Nith, and that is in a part of the country referred to primarily as Pokhara. Now we'll actually stay in Pokhara on this trip, and then we'll travel out to Lake Nith to do the works that we're going to be doing. So it's not a long bus ride. We're going to probably have the same bus as we go from Kathmandu to Chitwan to Lake Nith, and then we'll fly back to Kathmandu. So this will be 3 days, October 22nd through the 25th. We're going to partner with a children's home that's there, and that is run by Babaram and Kalpana. You can see them in the upper right-hand corner, and they have two boys of their own, and then they raise and care for about 12 to 14 kids at any given time. You can see them there. That picture in the middle on the right is when I was there in 2024, and we went up to a place called Dampus, which is a great place to go hiking, and we'll do that again on this trip. It's a phenomenal way to get up, see some villages. We'll have lunch up there. And so that's what we're going to primarily do, is support this family and encourage them and the children and do some stuff around the house. And then we'll also do a medical clinic in that area. There is they have a very low caste slum that's around there, and that's a great place for us to do some work. So the costs on this will also be around $500, and that will include hotel programs, transportation, food, as well as your flight back to Kathmandu. And so from Kathmandu, we'll spend a day in Kathmandu, and then fly out the next day to Bharatnagar. So the drive for both those would probably be 8 to 10 hours, depending on the roads, and it could be longer. So we're going to fly rather than do that. Flights are about 40 minutes. And this trip, we have to have a minimum of 10 people, maximum of 20, in order to make this one happen. And we're going to partner with a family there in Bharatnagar that's already been identified. Bharatnagar, again, if you look at the map down at the bottom, it's that little icon down at the bottom right-hand corner. They've already been identified by Habitat for Humanity. If you don't know anything about Habitat, it's the largest provider of charitable housing outside and inside the United States. So they've been building homes for people for many decades. And so my first trip to Nepal in 2018 was with a Habitat for Humanity trip, and they're very well organized. And so this trip again will be double occupancy. The cost for this will be, and I included the flight costs in this one. Flight costs in and out of Kathmandu is between $1,100 and $1,700, depending on where you're coming from, what kind of flight you want. Obviously, if you want to go business class or first class, it's significantly more, much more comfortable, I would suspect. I don't know. I've not done that yet. Um, but it's about $1,100 to $1,700. And then there is a building cost. And so our program cost is $1,000 for this. So that includes our food and our hotel, transportation, but it also includes the cost, part of the cost of helping to build the house. So congratulations, you're not going to get paid to build a house, and you're going to get to pay money that helps buy the material, pay for the staff that's there, and a host of other things. And then, of course, we'll have some cultural opportunities with them there. That picture that you see up there is a picture I took in 2024 when I met with some of the pastors in Bharatnagar. And so I have some familiarity. And we might do some medical clinic things on that. It really depends on a variety of things. And we might also do an excursion over to India. I've been to Nepal several times, never been to India, and I've been on the border two different times. And this time I think I'm going to make a foray into India. So if anybody wants to join me on that, we will have to get visas to go to India, but we'll talk about that as we go. So total cost for this trip, if you want to do all three portions along with your flight, is going to run $3,500. Okay. The only part that is tax deductible is, and I didn't mention it a minute ago, is that building donation that you see down towards the bottom there. So that is either $1,000, roughly $1,000 if you're a Thrivent financial member. That's a financial service company that's sponsoring this and paying a portion of our build. And if you're not a Thrivent member, then it's $1,500 because Thrivent doesn't pick up that portion if you are a non-Thrivent member. If you want to know about being a Thrivent member, let me know, and I'm happy to let you know what's involved. And so that's the only tax deductible portion of this trip. Options for making it tax deductible, if you so desire, is probably working through your church to see if they would allow people to make donations to the church, and then the church just basically helps you reimburse some of those costs for flying and for the portion that of what we're going to do in Pokhara and in Chitwan. And so there's a $250 deposit that's non-refundable. I should have put that in the slide, non-refundable. And then we're also going to do some work on fundraising. I'm more than happy to help you do fundraising. It is a lot of work, but it's worth the effort that you go through, and it's very doable to raise the funds. There's a lot of resources that will help you communicate to other people what it is that you're doing. And so the next steps of this is just pray and obey. Just pray about what you think God might want you to do, and certainly be obedient to that. I have no illusions that what I do or anything that we do for God, He's not under any obligation to bless it if He's not leading us to do it. So pray and seek His will, and then let me know by email. You see my email address there, and just let me know, and let me know if you're in or not, and we'll go from there. And then be thinking about which parts of the trip you want to participate in. Within a week of saying yes and registering with Habitat, and Habitat provides us a place where people can go make donations for you for that portion, that either $1,000 or $1,500. And so they have a fundraising tool in which people can click on those links and financially support you. And so determine which parts you want to be on. We'll get you registered and then pay your deposit. The first trip meeting, where we're going to do it via Zoom, probably, which is what I'm using here, or some other source, and just kind of talk about what we're doing, who's on the trip, what some of the things that we need to put in place. We'll have discussions on what you need to do ahead of time. For example, visas. We're going to have a visa. You can get it before you go, or you can just get it while you're there. You do need to have a passport to go. Not that anybody should be surprised, but you do need to have a passport, and it cannot be expiring prior to May 2026. And so that's important. They don't want your passport to expire while you're in the country if you have some problems and you have to stay. I'm one of those that mine expires prior to May 2026, so I got to get a new one. I'd encourage you to uh, have conversations with other people, invite a friend, see if you can take this journey together with somebody that's important in your life, and we'll raise some funds on this and talk about that. Please don't buy your tickets until I let you know, simply because if we don't have 10 people for the Habitat for Humanity portion, then they reserve the right to cancel. I think we're not going to have any problem. We already have 4 people that have indicated that they want to go, and so I'm pretty certain that we're going to um, have those enough people. But don't buy your tickets until we've coordinated that. When you buy your tickets, now you're going to have insurance for the Habitat for Humanity portion, so that if you get sick, if you get hurt, if you got any problems, they have this great insurance that's going to work for you while you're in the country. But it doesn't offer anything with regards to your airfare. And so make sure when you buy your tickets, if that's important to you, to get the insurance to go with that. Vaccines are not required in Nepal, so you don't need to worry about that. I know that's a common question. So it's not anything you have to worry about. And then finally, if you have questions, let me know by email as well, because I want to know questions and thoughts that you have, because this is going to be an incredibly valuable trip. And here's some pictures that I took last time. There's Babaram and the hotel that I stayed in. And we'll have a lot of time with the kids while we're there in Pokhara, and you'll get to see them and that cute little girl on the right, Grisma. She actually just moved into the house right before I came and visited. There, one of the interesting things about Babaram is he gets these kids from families, and some of these kids have never attended school. Never. He got a boy a couple weeks ago. When I was there in 2024, he got a boy that had never been to school. He actually showed up the week that I was there, and he was like 8 or 9 years old. And he teaches them how to read and do a lot of the things that they need to be prepared to start school and get caught up. And that's what he and Kalpana have been doing for years. That food right there on the bottom right, that's called dalbat. We will eat a lot of dalbat. It is really, really good. There is some strange food there, but odds are we aren't going to eat any strange things unless we want to eat strange things. And take my word, it's fun to eat strange things. Those are all pictures from Dumpus, the hike that we're going to go on, and that's the restaurant that we ate at when we went up there with the kids. And so there's, again, more pictures of that. And so again, if you have questions, this is Deepika. She is going to be our translator in Chitwan, and some possibly in Bharatnagar as well, and her family. And there's some pictures of Bharatnagar there. And that's a lot of what a house looks like in Nepal. And I don't know if that's what our house will look like. We'll know once we get closer to what it'll look like. There's an outdoor kitchen in your bottom left. And so just some really cool and interesting things. And the people in Nepal are just sweet. Very, very sweet. It's a hard language to understand. Some of them understand English, don't speak it very well. But you can oftentimes have conversations with them. And then, oh, the other thing is we're going to do a lot of things in Kathmandu as well. So there's a lot of tourist things to be involved in throughout this trip, as I call it, volunteerism, because I think you should take in as much culture as you can when you go to a place like this, because it's an experience. Serving them and giving to them is great, but allowing them to give to you is phenomenal as well. So that is all I have. Again, to reach me, my email is Sean O. Schrader at gmail.com, SHAWNOSCHRADER at gmail.com. And I look forward to questions you may have, or things that I can do to help you pray and obey. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Bye.